Hi, I'm Timothy Corrigan. I'm the founder and principal of Timothy Corrigan Inc., a design firm with offices in Los Angeles and Paris. And 40% of our business is outside of the US. So we thought it'd be really interesting to talk about how you run a global business and the different pros and cons and aspects of it. We're currently working in 7 different countries around the world, throughout Asia, Middle East, and Europe. And in the United States, we're working in 13 different states right now, literally all over the country. One of the things that I've learned is one of the real benefits of running a diversified global company. You actually can spread your risk of where economies are good and bad. The economy may be bad in California, but that may mean that it's great somewhere else. And it's even better when you do that on a global basis. In 2008, when the economy was really tanking, that was actually one of our best years because we actually had a lot of global business and we were able to diversify that risk. Over the years of my experience of running operations from a global basis, I've actually learned that there are 4 really key things you need to consider. One is basically logistics of how you run your different businesses, sourcing from all around the world, transparency from business practices, and really the service and how you service those kinds of projects on a global basis. I feel very fortunate that I actually had a previous career outside of design, which really helped me in terms of run a global business. And that is that I used to be responsible for one of the world's largest advertising agencies. I was the president of the international division for a company which I had 6,000 employees, 197 offices in 89 countries around the world. What I learned there was really how you run a business, how you run it internationally. And so that when I started this business in terms of interior design, I was determined that I would never get so big that I was not personally involved on every single project. You really have to stay involved on all the projects. That means that you actually are, from a logistical standpoint, you as the head of the firm, you're in multiple time zones all day long. I mean, I literally have Zoom calls sometimes at 4:30 in the morning, at 9:30 at night, because you have to deal with time zones all around the world. In LA, we have around 12 to 13 members, and in Paris, we have 4 to 6. And the way we do it is we actually run our American and Pacific and Asian projects out of the LA office, and we run Europe and Middle East out of the Paris office. So the way we actually structure is that we have designers in both offices because they're the ones who are really dealing with the clients. They have to be on site. The purchasing is done out of both operations. But the invoicing, the actual invoices, is done all through our Los Angeles office because that's we have the software there to do that, and we've got the expertise to take into consideration VAT and the social charges that you have to deal with and taxes in every single country and every state. I mean, if you're doing a project, let's say you're a California-based firm and you're doing a project in New York, you actually have to pay New York State sales tax, and so you have to understand all those kinds of things. The other issue is employee social charges, which vary from country to country. And you have to have accounting firms in multiple countries because we have to file income tax and employee taxes and payroll taxes and all those things. You can get into a lot of trouble if you don't have those kinds of structures in place. The second really strong pillar of running a global business is this aspect of sourcing. And we truly are living in a global economy today. So for any designer, whether you're doing business just in one country or in multiple countries, it's so important to be doing sourcing on a global basis because there are so many incredible products that are available all around the world, and your clients are aware of them because of the internet, et cetera. They know what's available in different places. So it's really important to continue to source globally. I think what's also interesting is that you actually can get a much better product by globally sourcing. I'm going to trade shows all around the world all the time, and oftentimes people will say, "Oh, I don't go to Maison Objet. It doesn't have great stuff." I can tell you, I find something at almost every trade show I go to. But it's not enough to do just global sourcing. You actually have to look at it and look at it from a competitive standpoint to see where you're actually going to get the best product at the best price. I want to give you an example. We're currently doing a project in France where we're doing 15 different bathrooms. We're doing all the marble for those bathrooms. We actually got quotes from Italy, from India, and from China. What was fascinating throughout that whole process was we actually ended up doing it out of Italy. And you would think, oh my gosh, it would have been so much cheaper out of China or India. Not always. What the benefit of all this is you actually are able to give your clients product that they wouldn't otherwise maybe find, but we're able to do it at a more affordable price for our clients, which means we can actually do better product for our projects. The third real pillar that's important to look at in terms of running operations globally is transparency. I think transparency is a key issue in the design field in general. Again, because of the internet, clients are able to find out what things cost very easily. And if you're not completely transparent with them, they will quickly find out, and what you lose is you lose that trust. And that trust is the basis of every good relationship. 15 years ago at a Design Leadership Network summit in New Orleans, there was a speaker talking about the speed of trust. That where you have trust, the transactions from a business perspective, transactions are actually more profitable and are faster. You get them done quicker, which means, again, more profitability. One of the benefits of transparency is that we've all seen situations where clients will try to go around you, try to buy something on their own because they think they're going to get a better price. When they know that you are consistently giving them the best product at the best price, it actually avoids that. And I think that it also helps them realize that you are not just a supplier of goods. That you've got expertise, you've got knowledge of different suppliers all around the world, and that you're going to give them the best available pricing. And I think that is a real benefit in terms of establishing and reinforcing trust. And what's interesting is we're actually beginning to play with different forms of compensation, because the traditional structure where you mark something up, if you think about it, it's not really aligned with the client's interests. So we're playing with different structures where we're doing fixed fees on some projects. When you try to align things that way, you don't worry about currency conversions, you don't worry about markups, you don't worry about all those different aspects. You're actually trying to do the best thing for the client, and along the way, you benefit as well. The final pillar that's really so important in terms of running global operations and accounts on a global basis is this aspect of service. And what's interesting is that when you position yourself as an expert in terms of delivering the best service, then the clients don't think of you just being a provider of goods and services. You actually are giving them the overall service, and they're not looking at you as a buying service. And I think that they begin to really trust you that way as well. It's all about showing your value to your clients. And what you need to provide is you actually need to provide of course, a great end product, but you want that entire process to have been beautiful and fun and enjoyable for the client, because it's not just the end product. They want to feel they've been a part of the process. And so the service of how you do that is so essential. I would say to any of you who are currently just working, for example, in one city or one state, I would encourage you to spread your wings, branch out. It actually makes you that much better as a designer to have that broader perspective. It gives you more credibility as a designer, and it's just so much more fun. And when you love what you're doing, really, it doesn't matter. Life, work balance all becomes irrelevant because you're just loving what you're doing so much.